You are Locked On Clippers Postcast, part of Locked On Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, how about that? I got to be honest, I did not see that going that way. That was awesome. What a game. Clippers hold on. A nail biter against the Nuggets at Crypto.com, 102-100. Thank you for joining me. I am Pete Fox. This is the Clipper Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. You can also listen to us wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. Tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $250 in bonus bets, or $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's 200 bonus bucks. If your first bet wins, go to FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. Well, the Clippers started off in the first quarter pretty much how I thought they would. Missing shots, no rebounds, no D, no ability to defend the fast break by Denver, and they just punish you with that thing if you don't get back. If you miss a three and you're just on your heels, they are good at the break. There's a reason they are champs. Westbrook chucking up balls that were like hitting the top of the backboard. And then Nikola Jokic doing his thing. He's an absolute stud. I don't really have a favorite basketball player, but if you force me to pick one, I would say Nikola Jokic is up there. He is so much fun to watch because he doesn't look like he knows what the hell he's doing. He's so just discombobulated and floating around and seemingly uncoordinated, off balance most of the time, and then banging down threes. I mean, passing the ball crisply, the give and goes. There's so many things to love about that guy. And I was just watching him going, he's like the, what you hope Ivica Zubac could be. Like Zubac is the, low rent Nikola Jokic, right? Jokic light, if you will. But that being said, in the fourth quarter, when the Clippers needed Jokic to slow down, Zoo was on him because PJ Tucker did a great job throughout the entire game slowing down Jokic. He had 4 points in the third quarter because of PJ Tucker. Didn't score his first bucket in the third quarter until like the 2-minute mark. And that was because PJ Tucker was bodying him up, doing a great job. So Zubac then in the fourth quarter, in the final minutes, it was just Zubac and Jokic. And you're like, oh, great. This is not going to go well. And sure as heck, Zubac kept him down and he missed that layup. So that was a key bucket there in the fourth quarter. I mean, so much going on in the fourth quarter, and the Clippers pulled it out. Denver outscored them 30-27 in the fourth. The Clippers got back into it in the second, 33-18. A pretty low scoring third quarter. It was 22-21. Clippers won that quarter, but they got back into it in the second. They started scoring. They started scraping, playing defense. I wrote playing defense a little. So I don't want to say that they were locked down, but they started scoring, and Jokic wasn't really scoring that much. So I don't know what he fell apart. He had 10 in the first and 10 in the second, but he wasn't putting up the kind of buckets that you expect from him. And then, as I said, didn't do much at all in the third and was on the bench because PJ Tucker was just making his life miserable. But coming out of the break when the Clippers had a 53-49 lead after that big second quarter, energy, fire, determination. And then I started thinking, is this because they're on TNT? Is that a factor, do you think? The whole TNT aspect of it? I'm just like, they seemingly play a different game when they're on a national sports network, right? When they're on the Bally's network, I don't know if it seems ridiculous, right? I don't know. What do you think, Daniel? I mean, comment for me here. By the way, you can, I'm reading the comments now. If you want to chime in, I will respond. We do the Dodger postcast as well, and it's a considerably more active discussion back and forth after a Dodger game than it is here. So It's a lot of fun if you want to participate. I don't exactly know how you do it on your end. I think you just go over to where it says post a comment and you do, and I can read it and so forth. But anyway, I feel like they just have a different energy. Maybe that was because they're playing the Denver Nuggets, who are the champs, first place in the West. This game meant something, right? But they played a lot of games lately that meant something, and they just completely laid an egg. And I thought that's exactly what was going to happen again tonight, right? The way they came out in the first quarter was garbage. They were down like 18 or something. Oh, here we go again. This is going to be a fun postcast. But at the end of one, 31-20. So down 11. And then they, as I said, started clawing and scraping. They went on a 13-0 run to start the second. They were running the break. Coffee had a nice basket and one. Their transition defense still sucked, but, you know, they were scoring, and the Nuggets kind of went a little cold. Again, 33-18, the Clippers in the second. So I was like, well, maybe there's something here. Maybe they can figure this out. Jamal Murray didn't play, so that was huge. I had him in a prize picks with Jokic. I thought the Clippers were just going to get smacked tonight. So I went to prize picks, and I had Jokic with his over number, which was like 28. And I'm like, he's going to score 40 tonight. Well, he scored 36. I was pretty close. And then I had Westbrook to go over because, again, I thought they were going to get punched in the teeth, and Westbrook was going to be out there at the end of the game just, you know, floating around, doing his thing, trying to get them back into the game, providing energy like he does. And his number was 11, so I went above on that, and he had 12. And then I had Jamal Murray as well, so he didn't play. So I'm pretty sure I still win. So that was nice. I felt good about that. I started to get a little bit guilty, felt a little bit uneasy about the fact that I was rooting for Jokic to score a couple more baskets. I'm like, could you score a few more and then miss? And that's exactly what happened. At the end of the game, he had that three that would have won it for them. And that's the kind of shot for Jokic that generally will go in. The announcer, Reggie Miller, and what was his name? Brian, forget his last name. He said, this is the way they won a game just the other night. Jokic had the ball, final seconds of the game, you know, hands in his face, off balance, that shot that he throws up above his head, kind of behind his head, and it goes in. Yeah, that's what I was like, oh, great, here we go. It's going to happen again. But fortunately, it did not, and the Clippers win it. 102-100. Huge win, fun game. It made you feel like, all right, even without Kawhi Leonard, we're going to be okay, right? This is okay. This team is not as bad as they have been over this stretch of playing like garbage on defense. They can play defense. I just think they need to be inspired to do so. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back and get to the bucket list. Thank you for joining me here on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the Clipper Postcast, the place to hang out when every game is done. Thanks for listening on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. All right, tonight's show also brought to you by a new sponsor, Fire TV. It's your destination for sports. From live games to highlights to in-depth analysis, Fire TV offers amazing viewing experience with smart TVs. One of the cool things about this type of technology is that back in the old days, if you wanted to put like a TV out on your patio or in your garage, you had to get a box and you had to run cable, coax all over the place. And nowadays, with these kind of Fire Stick things, so simple, so easy. Just get the TV, you can put it anywhere, and you plug in a Fire TV and away you go. So much content there, and it's so easy to use. You just plug it into your existing TV, and it provides access to millions of movies, TV episodes, as well as free and live TV, whether it's opening weekend of baseball or the college basketball tournament. You're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV has recently created some Fire TV channels to deliver constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us here at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV lets you dive into all the game analysis, highlights, and more. Keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more, not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking as well. Check out the Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV yet, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit amazon.com/LockedOnFireTVs. Tonight's show also brought to you by FanDuel. Where is my FanDuel read? Is that it? There it is. The sports calendar is loaded, and FanDuel's making it even more exciting to get in on the action, because right now new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's 200 free bucks if you win your first $5 bet. Bet on the tournament, bet on Major League Baseball as the season is off and running, NBA playoffs coming down the stretch, and then the NBA regular season coming down the stretch. And then, of course, playoffs are always fun to bet on. Of course, you got NHL as well. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and make your first bet a big win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. All right, Clippers with a gutty win, one that we felt like they needed. 102-100. LA led by Paul George, 10 of 21 in 37 minutes. He had 28 points. Ivica Zubac was fantastic with key buckets, 4 of them, 4 of 11, but hit some free throws at very clutch times. I almost put Zubac on the bucket list with a free throw because it was pretty much the game-winning bucket, but I didn't. I have another Zubac on the bucket list that was huge for the Clippers. He finished with 14. James Harden, I don't know how I feel about James Harden's performance tonight. I really don't. It was garbage to start. He got really hot in the second, but he finished 2 of 13 from beyond the arc. I mean, this game would have been over and done with if he hit at least 2 of those threes in the fourth quarter. Nope. Short, long, left. I mean, they were just all over the place, and they were bad looks. He is a rhythm shooter. He's got to be in rhythm. Without a doubt, though, I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that he knows how to take that step back and bury it. But when it's not working, it's not working. He wasn't even drawing the foul. You know, he gets that 3-point foul. That wasn't even working for him either. But he kept shooting. And I know some people love that. I feel like this team goes as James Harden goes. I know it's Kawhi Leonard and Paul George's team, but if Harden is off, they're generally off. So tonight, a huge win when Harden was not good when he needed to be. He was good in the second, and that did help them get back into the game. So I'm torn. How do I feel about this? Do I give him credit? Do I give him criticism? I feel like they could have won this game comfortably, and it wouldn't have been a big deal if he had a couple of threes there. If he found a better look. I don't know. Sometimes he hits those. A lot of times he does when he gets rolling, right? But he was just chucking and ducking, and it wasn't working. And, you know, the Nuggets got easy looks because he was missing those threes. I got 2 of 13 from beyond the arc. Most of that came in the fourth quarter. Fortunately, he was 6 of 7 at the free throw line, so that was nice. And Terrence Mann played 18 minutes, 2 of 6 for 6 points. And PJ Tucker got the start because Kawhi was out. PJ Tucker did not score any buckets. He was 0 for 2, so no points. But really, I mean, when the game was over, you felt like without PJ Tucker, they don't win this game. So I think that's fantastic. That's the kind of thing that, you know, Russell Westbrook has been doing off the bench, providing energy, playing defense, passing, and you know, giving the team a boost. And PJ Tucker has taken that ball and run with it because it's been very helpful. And you have to give a guy like that credit when he scores no points, plays 17 minutes, but holds Nikola Jokic down during a crucial point of the game. It got a little sloppy in the fourth. He had a couple of fouls. And I got to say, I mean, there was a lot of calls in the fourth quarter, foul related in both directions that were, I don't know, you know, when it's in favor of the Clippers against the Nuggets, you kind of go, okay. But the Malone, the coach of the Denver Nuggets, of course, got tossed. And that was a 4-point swing in favor of the Clippers because there were 2 techs. The first one for arguing, the second one for pointing. They don't like to be pointed at. Do not point at a referee. Do not fist pump at a referee. If you do, you're going to get tossed. And Michael Malone proved that tonight. So 4 points. It was a foul. And I think it was Zubats made both free throws and then the tech free throws. So 4 points in favor of the Clippers. But I don't know. I felt like it was a bad call. Michael Porter Jr. did get fouled beyond the arc. So that was a bad call. And then Paul George had a huge steal and a breakaway. And then KCP just hammered him. No call, no harm, no foul. So that was the makeup call, I guess. Right. But there was just a fair amount of missed calls, bad calls, whatever you want. A couple of them, as I said, went against PJ Tucker. He was bodying up Jokic. And they said the referee just showed him exactly what he did. And he was kind of doing that hip checking, hand checking thing on Jokic. And that's what he called him on. I'm like, come on. And, Reggie Miller brought that up a couple of times, ticky tack. And then they went to a review for another ticky tack call that went against or in favor rather of Russell Westbrook as to whether or not it was a flagrant foul. Ended up not being, and it took all of 20 to 25 seconds. And Reggie Miller was just pissed. He's like, I'll never get those 25 seconds back. What in the hell is going on here? So, the refereeing was a little bit, off. PJ got a tech as well for arguing after that second foul. It was part of a 13-4 run for the Nuggets, which turned into a 16-8 run, which was backed up by Zubats doing a great job on Nikola Jokic. So I don't know if it's fair to call Zubats Jokic light or, Jokic in training, but Jokic is the man. He's just probably going to win the MVP again, which will be his third MVP. And it's the reason they are who they are. He's fun to watch because nothing seems to be hard for him. And obviously he's a very large man, but I don't know. I'm not a Nuggets fan. I don't pay that close of attention to them, but he's such a star that if you turn on ESPN or whatever, you're going to see Jokic, right? He's going to be there, especially if he has a big night like he did tonight, leading all scorers with 36 points, a triple double. He had 36 to go with 10 assists and 17 boards. Aaron Gordon, that guy's a stud as well. He had 18 points in 36 minutes. Michael Porter Jr. was 14. KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had 16 in 38 minutes, including 4 big threes. And former Clipper Reggie Jackson, 2 of 6, 1 3, finishing with 7 points. The big factor of this game did not have a whole lot to do with the starters. We will get to that after the break. I'm Pete Fox, covering sports in LA for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio dating back to 2007. Thank you for joining me here on the Clipper Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. Place to hang out when every game is done, and you can listen to us wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. All right, tonight's show also brought to you by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, so we're narrowing on the end of this, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from another retirement account with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on a 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal stuff. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of the first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial, LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker dealer. All right, Clippers with a narrow, gutty, energetic victory over the Denver Nuggets in LA, 102-100. As I said, it had a lot to do with the offense and the defense, but more than anything, the Clippers got this win because of their bench. At one point, they had outscored the Nuggets bench like 19-0. At the end of the game, the Nuggets bench had a grand total of 9 points, and the Clippers 14-24, 24-9. Gotta love that. Sorry, 34-9. Wow. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you just can't explain how beneficial it is. When the bench can put up those kind of numbers, huge. Westbrook with 12. Powell in 35 minutes, he had 11, including 2 threes. Mason Plumlee played 13 minutes, had 2 points. Coffee was good tonight. Lots of energy, determined, getting to the basket, which is something that's huge for the Clippers when he can do that. Sometimes he comes out and he's lazy, and he's still, I don't know, lazy is not the right word. He's not as aggressive. Okay, let's put it that way. Definitely not lazy. Other guys are lazy. James Harden can be lazy. I would never say Amir Coffey is lazy. That's not fair. But sometimes he's just more aggressive, and that's what he was doing tonight. When he's penetrating, very good around the rim, and we saw that tonight, but not a ton. He had 9 points. Again, Powell with 11. So 9 and 11 is 20, I believe, and then 12 and 2 is 14. So 20 and 14 kids is 34. Big night off the bench for the Clippers. All right, time for the bucket list. Promised it to you last segment. I lied. I'm going to do it right now. Our number 5 bucket of the night from Norm Powell, a 3 at the 10:16 mark of the first to make it 30 as far as the second, early in the second. It made it 31-28 Denver. This is right before the Clippers grabbed the lead, right before they got really hot. So he's kind of the catalyst for their run in the second, because it was one of those things, as I said, I was frustrated. I'm like, here we go again. We're going to get kicked in the mouth. And before I know it, I'm like, wait a second. They're down 6. Now they're down 3. And next thing you know, they're up 8. They're up 10. They're up 12. It was pretty amazing how quickly it happened. And I think that's one of those things that you just love to see and you feel really comfortable about. And it just, I turned to my wife as we were watching the game, and she's not a sports fan at all. She's like over there, looking at her phone, just whatever, spending time, participating in my life, supporting me in what I do. And I looked over and I go, these are the nights where I don't feel like I'm really working all that hard. It's like, I feel like I'm stealing money covering this game because this is fun. At the beginning of the night, the first game, I was like, oh, please, anything but this. Here we go again. So my energy is rejuvenated with regard to the Clippers, and that's a good feeling to have. Number 4 on the bucket list tonight, Russell Westbrook, a sweet pass from Norm Powell for a dunk. It was at the 9:55 mark. So just under a minute after that Norm Powell 3. So the energy started rolling. Clippers are down 1 at this point, 31-30. Then James Harden hit a 3 in the final seconds of the second. He had a hand in his face, a fall away. Same kind of shot he was taking in the fourth quarter that weren't falling. They were falling in the second for him. He had 2 threes on the night. But again, 20 points, pretty decent performance for him. It made it 51-49 Clippers. They went into the break with a 53-49 lead. So pretty amazing, really fun and enjoyable second quarter. On to the second half. They kept it rolling as Jokic was having a tough time scoring in the second until about the 2-minute mark of the third quarter because PJ Tucker was doing a fantastic job on him. But Westbrook got a pass from James Harden and an alley-oop dunk that was just fantastic. I mean, perfectly executed. It was at the 1-minute mark of the third to make it 73-66. And for number 1 tonight on the bucket list, not quite the dagger, not quite the game winner, but it was a huge bucket. James Harden penetrated into the lane. Kind of, how he does. He gets down, gets small, dribbles around through people almost under their legs, and just, you can't find him if you're a big guy, seemingly. He did that. He got down there into traffic, and Zubac was just on the other side of the paint, and he threw it around a guy, bounced it to Zubac. Zubac elevated and dunked it to make it 98-92. Clippers had a 6-point lead at that point, and they did not relinquish that lead again. They go on to win it 102-100. So a fantastic night. Big buckets all around from Paul George. I'm surprised he only had 2 threes, 10 of 21. So just under 50%. 28 points. Again, Zubac 4 of 11, but 6 of 6 from the line. I don't know if I mentioned this, but he had 15 boards. So a double-double for Zoo, 14 and 15. So that was huge, as the Clippers surprisingly don't shoot all that well from the floor, 37%. But again, when you're playing defense, it doesn't matter. You don't have to outscore them. This is the thing I'm preaching at you guys all the damn time. I know you know this. I wish I could preach it to them. Play some defense, and you don't have to rely on your basket making ability. They obviously can make baskets, but there are times through this stretch where they're now, just since the All-Star break and the Grammy road trip, the Clippers are just with this win tonight, 1 game over 500. So not the greatest stretch of time for them, because a lot of times their defense is so lazy and anemic that the offense has to make shots, because the opponent is just getting a wide open path to the lane. The penetration is not there. I mean, the penetration is easy for them. Reggie Miller said it a few times when the Nuggets were making baskets in the first quarter. That's just too easy. And that's how I feel most of the time with the Clippers defense, that it's just too easy for the opponents, right? I don't think all these teams are that good. Who'd the Clippers lose to a couple nights ago? Kings, right? I watched that Kings-Knicks game. They were playing pretty good. Not the same team that played against the Clippers. So is that the Kings rising to the occasion to play the Clippers? I don't think it is. I think it's the Clippers wetting the bed, not playing defense, making it too easy for their opponents. That's what it is. It's got to be. I mean, the Knicks are good, right? They're not that good. Now, speaking of teams not being that good, I owe an apology to the Orlando Magic. In our last show a couple of nights ago, I commented that the Clippers beating the Magic was not a big win. It's like, it's the Magic. Admittedly, I pay zero attention to the East other than maybe Boston and Milwaukee, right? Because of their star caliber players. Beyond that, I have no idea what's happening in the East. Clearly, because I said the Magic are garbage, and they're not. They're not garbage at all. So apologies to the Orlando Magic, and apologies to the Clippers. That was a very nice win in Orlando against the Magic last week. They are 45-31, 4th in the East. So maybe the Clippers need to figure out a way to meet up with them in the playoffs. Unfortunately, that cannot happen. But yeah, apologies to the Orlando Magic. I was like, yeah, they're garbage. And somebody in the chat or on the comments corrected me. So I appreciate that as well. I don't have a problem if you tell me when I'm wrong, because I am more than willing to admit it. And that was a clear example of that. But the bottom line is that the Clippers defense has the ability to play defense, to be good. They showed it tonight. They've showed it in the past against teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves. Most of the time, though, for whatever reason, they don't bring the energy and they make it too easy on the opponents. Because like I said, that Sacramento Kings team did not play. They got kicked in the mouth by the Knicks tonight. They played good for 3 quarters, and the Knicks just rolled them in the 4th. They fell asleep. And I was like, where was that team when the Clippers were playing them? In LA, no less. Oh, no, maybe that was up north. I can't remember. But the fact is that they need to play better defense. And when they do, this is what is capable. This is what can happen. So hopefully Kawhi Leonard comes back sooner before later. Knee soreness is what he's dealing with. I think they're in no big rush. Right back at it tomorrow against the Jazz. who are fairly lowly. So I don't think they're going to put too much pressure on him to get back. That game's at 7:30 tomorrow. Jazz come in with a 29-47 record, 9-28 on the road. Clippers, after the 102-100 win, are now 48-28, 23-13 on their home floor at crypto.com. So a solid win all in all. I don't know about you, but I feel good. And this was a fun night for basketball and a fun night for the postcast. So thank you for joining me here on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. And thanks for listening on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. I'm doing Dodgers tomorrow on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. That game's at 11:20 in Chicago on the north side against the Cubbies. So as to whether or not I'll be here for the Jazz game after remains to be seen. So I'm going to do my best to do the doubleheader and cover both of them. But tomorrow, Dodgers have priority. Hopefully I'll get inspired and I'll do this one as well. But if not, I will see you back here after the Cavaliers game on the 7th, which is Sunday. That game will tip at 12:30 at crypto.com. I'll definitely be there for that game. So have a good night. Thank you for joining me here on the Locked On Clippers postcast and the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. I will talk to you again real soon. Have a good night.